State of Oregon v. Sandoval in 2007. This was a case up until 2007. In Oregon, there was what was called a duty to retreat. At least that's what the courts had ruled up to that point, which meant that you had to do all things possible to run from the situation and retreat from the situation. And unless you were backed into this corner here and had nothing else to do, then you could use deadly force to protect yourself. Oftentimes, in real life, that's probably too late. And I think the Oregon Supreme Court affirmed this when they said that you don't have to. We're going to cover, what it means to use deadly force and all of that. And you don't have to retreat in Oregon. You don't have that duty to retreat. Use of force in the defense of a person, 161-209. It says a person is justified in using physical force upon another person for self-defense or to defend the third person from what the person reasonably believes. You guys are going to see reasonably a lot today, and we're going to try and define that. We're going to go through an avoid situation, then we're going to go through a situation where you diffuse the situation, where it's a little bit elevated between you and the attacker, but still you have an opportunity to walk away without killing somebody. And then the third scenario we're going to go through is where you have no choice, you engage, and we're going to go through that a couple of times in a couple of different ways to illustrate all of the decisions that you're going to have to go through when you do decide to engage and pull that trigger. All right, Tom? Hey!
Hey! What's going on? We are at Come on, baby! Hey! Come on, buddy! All right.
Tom gets that a lot. He really does.
I need to feel like a man.
That's going to be the difference. Is one we talk about regularly, not taking your eyes off as you separate. Most of the Krav students all understand that anyways. As we're creating distance, we're always looking at the initial threat as we're gaining that distance. It's one of those things we emphasize regularly in Krav Maga, is actually making sure that we're getting separation as fast as possible so we can all get home safe. If they're continuing to move forward, then yeah, you might have to change the decision, but the first decision should be to avoid the threat at any point in time.
All right, so this is the diffuse situation. This is going to be a step up from the next one. So
Give me your shit. Put it on the ground now. Now. Put it down. Anything else?
It's all yours, man.
Thank you.
Have a very nice day.
See how polite he was? He said, thank you. Dave, you want to walk us through that?
Absolutely. So we talk about this in class pretty regularly also. Diffusing the situation. Even in the higher levels of Krav Maga, when we start talking about disarming anybody at any point in time, he's got the gun on him. I'm not going to guess whether it's loaded. We're at big enough distance right here that my option is give him my stuff. Go home. Right? With that, you guys noticed I was actually making eye contact with him as I was emptying my stuff. I wasn't fidgeting. Okay? Because the next part of this is me going and finding another phone and making a good police report. Okay? Starting at the hairline and working my way down to the feet, making sure I get a good description. Try to get a rough idea how tall he is. Very gangly. Right? All of these things I'm actually going to be paying attention to right away while I'm giving my stuff up. I already know what my stuff looks like. And if it's on me, I already know where it is, so I actually don't have to look to see where my keys are. My pockets are attached. So I'm actually going to pay full attention to him in case the intent in them changes or they rush at you. So I want to make sure that I'm giving up my stuff as I'm making contact with him, eye contact, to ensure that I can see everything that's happening outside of my bubble. At this range, there's nothing I can do. I cannot race the bullet.
You're fast.
Yes. I'm very, very comfortable with gun threats here. Total different story. And even at this point in time, if I feel that it's a safer option for me to give him my stuff, probably going to. It would be an absolute last resort if I actually went to disarm the weapon. What you guys have to start thinking about is, do I have the ability to communicate exactly who took my stuff? because it is all stuff. You should only be carrying with you the stuff that you actually need. Who's running with 15, 20 credit cards in their wallet? That's a lot of phone calls, right? You need your ID, maybe a credit card, on an absolute bare bones minimum. I actually don't even carry pictures of my family. Just because of the fact that if I lose any of that, they then have my address, they know exactly how many family members I have. That I consider somewhat of a threat to my own personal sanctuary. So I don't carry any of that stuff also. So anything I have on me at any point in time, I can pass with. Because it's just stuff. This is the only thing that I have to take home with me every day. My goal is to lace my boots up and unlace my boots every day. That's it. If I do that, it's been a damn good day. So if you have somebody that's put you in this situation, give it up. It's not worth moving any further than that. Even if I am carrying it. Gun on. Who's going to win this race? Right? So even at this point in time, I'm not going to play OK Corral. Right? It's just not going to go that direction either. It's stuff. That makes sense? So let's take it a little bit different of a direction now. Any questions on that? Perfect.
Now this is the engaged scenario.
You're going to die, motherfucker! You're going to die! Imminent threat, obviously. I'm going at him. I'm threatening. He has the right to defend himself. I let him know I was going to kill him. It's obvious. I'm on the approach and I'm breaking distance rapidly. He didn't have time to back up and draw. Coming up on him, screaming, yelling. Heart rate spikes. Decisions start getting bad. And I'm this close.
So if he's coming at me, if I can shoot towards the pelvic region. Go ahead and move. Now it's hitting the floor. You may get a ricochet, what have you. But if I was at the chest, you know, it's gonna hit Ryan. Head, it's really gonna hit Ryan now.
He might be aiming at me. Something that you're going to have to work at. When you take the responsibility on to carry, it's a big responsibility. You need to, we'll talk about this earlier or later, and we'll show you some options, but I just want to get you thinking about this. You're going to carry a gun. You've decided to use it in self-defense. You need to be prepared. Go ahead. So Tom's going to cover some of the Utah-specific regulations. These are the things that you really need to pay attention to because this is what's required for your Utah license.
There's a lot of information that we're fortunate enough to have Ryan here talking from the legal perspective of Oregon and Washington. There's a lot of similarities, and you'll see as I'm going through it when you talk about justification of force and use of force, it's almost a mirror image, but you know, in the fine print, there are some minor differences. So, in that situation, anybody want to comment on what they would do? You know, if you were sitting in the car.
Drive away. It's in the car. Did you see in that video? Maybe you didn't see, but there was traffic. Yeah. That's why they were going back and forth because they tried to drive away.
So trapped a little bit. You know, the smashing up the car and things like that, that's a possession. And hopefully everybody's driving insured. And those are things that, you know, can be purchased and hopefully repaired. Where it really starts becoming a big deal is in the moments where it starts breaking windows. And it's really hard to tell in the video, but in the back seat of that car were actually children. And so that adds a defensive third person that we were talking about earlier. And, you know, at what point can you stop somebody from something like that if it's to save your kids? You fear for your life. And so you've got to kind of think about some of those scenarios and at what point you can act or react to what's happening around you. This was actually a video they showed at the instructor's course in Utah. And it was very interesting to hear some of the ideas, you know. I mean, a lot of the guys that are instructors have the mentality, well, I just was shot, you know, my car, I'm shooting it. But from a legal perspective, at what point is it just your car? At what point can you say, I did everything reasonably possible to get out of the situation and be safe, and now he's smashing in the window and he has a tire iron within very close proximity to my children, and their health and welfare is on the line. So,
Yeah, I mean, the analysis, did you act reasonably? I mean, when does it go from defensive property to defensive person?
Something else that's going on in the video is he's obviously got a friend who's shooting the video. He's not alone, right? So you may be escalating the situation with the guy who's got a tire iron, where his buddy's standing behind you or off to the side shooting the video who's packing. You wouldn't even see that guy. Something else you have to consider with escalation and use of force is what you don't know. What else is going on? Because do you think the guy in the PT Cruiser had any idea that the video was actually being shot? No idea that something else was going on besides what was actually happening at his door.
Although that's a good point, that whenever you respond to any situation, you should probably assume someone's filming.
These days, absolutely.
Absolutely.
Ask any of the law enforcement officers.
You guys are all on video now. No.
the story ends, they actually found him dead a month later. So he did this to the wrong person at some point. So, yeah, his actions were definitely threatening, and use of force would most likely be justifiable.